I think everyone can tell you that your problem is not a statin deficiency, right? Like you didn't walk into the office with a statin deficiency, and now the doctor has solved your statin deficiency by prescribing you statins. No.
Hey, Inspire Tribe, my fellow freedom lovers. John Nolan here. Thank you so much for tuning in for another inspired conversation. And, despite or maybe looking at all the events that are going on, everything, the chaos, the good, the expansion, one thing is clear. Human consciousness, and human creativity, human agency is on the rise, and that seems to be an exponential thing. And what we need for that is to be the best possible version of ourselves, to be at our very best, to be absolutely healthy. And so we invited our dear friends from C60 Evo back on, Chris Burres and Miss Patty Greer, to talk about this because this is the most important thing ever. Thank you, friends, for joining us again.
Thanks, John, for having us.
Always a pleasure.
Always a pleasure, Miss Patty, too. I noticed there's a new look. It's a little bit of the Renaissance look. I love it.
Kind of bringing it back.
I think they call it bougie. I think it's very bougie.
Awesome.
So, friends, you said we talked about off camera sort of what's going on and how we all agree that it is really about humanity driving the show after hundreds and thousands of years of small power groups doing this. And now the human family is awakening more and more. And that's, there's a cause to celebrate. So why don't we do a shot and celebrate a shot of C60 Evo? I'm doing a strong stuff, by the way. Yeah, there you go, Chris. You're with me, aren't you?
I'm with you.
I'm going MCT coconut, a little more gentle than the intensity of the olive oil, but all of them delicious, fabulous. Cheers. Anybody out there, please join us.
To the human family and the awakening consciousness.
I love it.
That's tasty.
Delicious.
And I love it.
We're all
so
set.
Now we're going to be smarter.
Firing on all cylinders. I also want to tease before we go into this discussion here. There's a hat. And in that hat are names. And we're going to raffle off 3 bottles. Thank you. 3 bottles of C60 Evo for 3 lucky winners in a little bit here. But Miss Patty, ladies first, you sent me a photo earlier today. One that I've seen before when we talked, and you said, I'm coming to a really important realization here. Things are coming full circle and something that the world needs to know about. It's all coming out now. What are we talking about here? Let me show you that photo, my friends.
Now, if this looks familiar to people, then they've been looking at conspiracy theories since the turn of this century, because this was a crop circle in 2002 in the UK that was located right across from a huge telecommunication tower you can see beyond the green field, so that whatever this message was, if people were choosing to read it, it had the opportunity to be reported out across the world, because it's a major tower there with a lot of satellites on it. And the message was deciphered by a computer analyst and also a mathematician, binary code. And the message, I thought, was really quite alarming, considering 9/11 had just happened. So this was the crop circle after 9/11, and the message was deciphered as this: beware the bearers of false gifts and their broken promises. Much pain, but still time. Believe there is good out there. We oppose deception. Conduit closing. Now, in 2002, then, it was like, was that our answer to 9/11 not being what we thought it was, or all these other things? In 2004, I got poisoned by a dentist, and I learned a lesson, which was there wasn't a lawyer in America that would sue for malpractice somebody that intentionally did something really bad. And that was the moment my conspiracy theories started. 2004, when I went, wait, how can this dentist get away with such a heinous thing to do to me? And not one lawyer is interested. I mean, I spent days, weeks trying to reach, and I couldn't. There was no malpractice to be had back then. And I went, oh my God, that message, it's like, and so that's where I began, like I said, conspiracy theories. But now we've used them all up. Like they've all come true. And it's fascinating to look back at our timeline and say, huh, yeah, I was listening. And I don't know if it's easier for us that are listening or for people that have no idea what's been going on.
Well, it's definitely it's been quite some, it's a long time in a human life. It's not a long time for human history, but the last 25 years have been incredibly eventful, and I don't think we can appreciate, oftentimes cannot appreciate how far we've come, in terms of truth. And I think when the truth really starts bubbling up like it is now in so many fields, there's a certain level of chaos that comes with it, and so that chaos is another form of stress. And I think the balance is so important in these times, to keep that balance, and I know Chris talks about it a lot in terms of what we can do to sort of alleviate the stress and make sure that we as a being remain focused, remain energized. And I know, Chris, this is why you have dedicated your life to this miracle molecule that we talk about so often, that so few people comparatively still know about. It's still this in its infancy in terms of what it could do and how it could help people. But how do you see the times that we're in? What's your perspective?
Yeah, I think, well, I'm really excited. I think 2025 is going to be amazing. You look at who our, whatever director of healthcare was and who it is now, Robert F. Kennedy Jr. Like that's amazing. It's like a night and day contrast. And it really is. There's a book out by Peter Attia. I don't remember the title of it, but he talks about about medicine 2.0 and medicine 3.0. And the fact that we're moving into medicine 3.0, which is where we're really, I have lots of conversations with medical practitioners, with functional medicine doctors. And one of the things that keeps coming up when I have these conversations is what people think is happening when they visit a doctor is actually not happening. Right. So when you go to the doctor, you're like, hey, I'm having some heart palpitations, and so you think the doctor is trying to figure out the root cause of these heart palpitations and stop them so they never happen again. No, they're just like, hey, Big Pharma has told me recently, because there was a pharma rep in yesterday, that this is good at reducing heart palpitations by 2%, which is an unbelievably low number. A lot of these drugs that are prescribed actually have very low, so efficacy might be high in terms of a lot of people can benefit from it. The amount of benefit is a lot lower than people know. So they're actually just trying to mitigate as best they can the heart palpitations. They're not actually trying to dig in and understand what's causing them and make changes, right? If you think about, well, I love this phrase. Statins are one of the multi-billion, probably trillion-dollar drug that are available now. Multiple types of them. But I think everyone can tell you that your problem is not a statin deficiency, right? Like you didn't walk into the office with a statin deficiency, and now the doctor has solved your statin deficiency by prescribing you statins. No. Everything comes from what we eat, what we consume. It's why our product is in a high quality extra virgin olive oil. Like we work hard to make sure that there's high quality ingredients that go into our product. By the way, it's just 2, unless you're talking about the face serums. It's just 2. It's a high quality extra virgin olive oil and as much of this C60 molecule as we can get to dissolve in it. And if you think from that perspective, your visit to the doctor should have a lot more conversation about what's your diet. What do you eat? Because, all of your muscles are replenished every 90 days. So the proteins you eat matter. Like, are we having conversations with our doctors about, hey, in the next 3 months, all my muscle cells are going to be replaced. I would like to replace them with the highest quality stuff. What is that? Like how do I find it? Where do I get it? And you don't have those conversations. And so that's what Peter T is talking about, medicine 3.0, where we start, and this is what you typically get from a functional nutritional doctor, from a functional doctor, functional medicine doctor, is that they're looking for the root cause of the problem and solving it. And I'm hopeful that we're, now launching, not just moving in the right direction, but launching in the direction where we start becoming the CEOs of our own health, where we start digging in and understanding where can we get value in the marketplace, and we start consuming the right things.
Man, I love that. And I love the analogies that you used. And probably this is, in short, the biggest shift that needs to happen. We've seen a medicine and science and politics sector that has, it's just at best they were spokespeople for the pharmaceutical industry, and nobody's allowed to say what's the real root cause. The farthest you can go is, it's genetics. We all know that is, such a misrepresentation of the truth. So I really appreciate how you put that. And I think if we dare ask the question, what's the root cause, we can remove the problem real quick, which is basically, and this is, I think what you guys really do is help restore the body to optimal health, help restore the cells to optimal functioning. And like you always say, the mitochondria in the cell, we talk about this a lot. What that means is basically remembering that this body really is wonderful and that it can restore itself. And we've been poisoned and we've had all this crap. And now it's time to heal and allow for this body to do its job. Miss Patty, you're a wonderful example of that. We talked about this. You talk about your poisoning, your uranium poisoning, your 2 hip replacements in the last year, which I saw you dance a few months afterwards.
Yeah.
What's the difference in your perception? Because, we've all learned over these last decades. How has your life changed with your perception of health and, with looking at it from this perspective?
I just had a friend over who has known me through all these interesting experiences. She met me when I was making crop circle movies, and we were actually soaking our feet with an ionic, we had our feet soaking. And so that's what I did before this show. And as we're soaking, we can't get up and do anything. We can't go anywhere. And I make sure my phone and computer are far away so we can talk about all kinds of things. And by the end, she goes, "Girl, I've never seen anybody live through what you've lived through. I mean, it's really amazing." And I just looked at her. Oh, crap. I forgot to give her some Evo. I mean, for me, I take care of my friends. I want to keep everybody well, but I don't do anything but the Evo. And I used to do a lot of supplements. But once I realized I had something as serious as 2 hip replacements coming up right away, and I didn't have much notice because I waited until I literally couldn't walk. I was really stubborn. But I also went 2 years because I was taking this product. And I had never taken daily oil until I started taking this for living through the other things, the poisonings and whatever. I must be a science project, for God, for temporarily. But now I win, obviously, because I get to co-own this company and get it out to the world. But this is my secret, and it's not a secret anymore. But when I went to these medical doctors, they said it's not possible that you could have walked bone on bone for the last 2 years. Like, it just doesn't happen. And they were, thinking that I must be medicating. And it's like, nope, you must be a little nuts then and really tolerate pain. And I'm like, not a lot of pain. And it's because I was lubricating. And I only use that word because I can't say other words until maybe we don't have suppression. But lubrication is what I did. And I can speak just like a testimonial because that's who I am. But this has gotten me all the energy I need all day long. I never get tired during the day. And when we think of how many windows we have open on an average computer day, like sometimes I'm really impressed to think my mind goes there, and I can just flick through them and be fully conscious on each one. So does everybody else. I mean, I think we really underestimate our ability, but I also don't underestimate what this does for my brain. And this is the olive oil, which you guys took because you're real men. I took the coconut MCT oil because I'm the lady here, but it's half as strong. And it's only because, like Chris said, the particular oil will only hold so much concentration levels of this molecule. And they make it in the lab because there's not enough in nature to be found, but it's a natural occurring molecule. And it won the Nobel Prize in the 90s because it is such an incredible molecule in almost every application tested. But the reason we're called C60 Evo, and the reason I'm so excited about 2025, and I've got the top of my crystals, Bobby Kennedy's Make America Healthy Again hat, is even though, yes, there's a lot of questions, even though, yes, there's a lot of arrows flying from all directions at all of us at all times, I just look at the evolution of consciousness. Overall, we have risen to a whole new frequency around the world because of the exposure of these terrible crimes that have been committed, and they're coming to the surface to be healed. You don't get away with that stuff that long. And I'm watching congressional hearings now where they're interrogating Bobby Kennedy Jr. and in front of the world, because everybody's watching. And there's one club that's saying, oh, I can't wait till they make him really wrong. But what they just said in front of everyone was 300,000 children and more are missing in America. And then we
that is the conservative low end number. To be quite honest, there's way more missing than that.
But if I said 10 children are missing, my heart croaks. I don't think we're realizing the amount of darkness that we're all looking at without even seeing it. Because to me, how could anybody let that go by and say, wait a minute, what did you say? That this is public knowledge and we're still not having that be everybody's priority? Bear with me. And then my friend said, how do you stay so nice and calm? And I'm like, this freaking stuff, my brain, like everything comes down to it's this. And when Chris describes the mitochondria quantity in the brain, and this being the mitochondria roto-rooter, Chris hit those numbers. I mean, it's really impressive. It's why the mental functioning, which is what we're going to need more than anything as we move through this chapter, is so important. Was it like 2 million mitochondria per cell in the brain?
In the brain and neurons, yeah, and your neurons. That's how much energy your nervous system uses. It's amazing.
That's unbelievable. Actually, it's hard to imagine, right? Because it's all minuscule. You don't see that. But I think we're at a time, to me, Patty and Chris, where results begin really to matter now. We've gone through so much exploration. Things are coming up, and it's action time, right? We need to change those things. We need to change them for good, not band-aids, right? And so that's why this revelation is so important. One of those things that I think are preposterous and absolutely insane, Chris, is that you see certain things as, a chemist and as the owner of the company, someone who's been with this molecule since its inception, basically, or discovery. You see things over and over and over and over again, yet the three-letter agencies tell you you're not allowed to talk about this. You're not allowed to tell people what others who are using and taking the ESS 60 molecule are experiencing. So why don't we frame it a little differently? There are coincidences in life. Some people might use ESS 60 and they completely disconnected from that also have certain experiences. Can you talk about some of those experiences that people are having coincidentally?
Yeah, another way I like to put it, let's throw in the FDA disclaimer, right? Our product is not intended to treat, diagnose, cure, or prevent any disease. And I'm going to share anecdotes. And the way I share anecdotes is really kind of two. One, I either had the conversation with someone or there's an email trail. I think like the so-called chain of custody of like if my business partner shares something, I'll tell you that it's, secondhand, but the ones that I will share are direct. And the other is, let's just assume this won't happen for you, right? Like if what we say here is compelling for you and you decide to follow John's link and purchase the product, great. Don't do it because of these testimonials. We're just sharing, like John said, they may or may not be taking it, and this may or may not have happened. So one of my favorite is, and I'm going to break the first rule, which is they may or may not be taking it. I'll always remember this case because one Saturday I was here. This is quite a while ago, but one Saturday I was here. And I try not to work on weekends. It's really like I want to spend time with family. I try really hard to work, and Patty can attest. Like I really try to not work on weekends. But I was here up at the office, and this guy walked by and knocked on the door. And so I went up, and it felt very clandestine. He was like, "Do you have any ESS 60?" I was like, "Yeah, I do. Step right in." and so then I ended up selling him, I think, a bottle. I didn't know how to do it. Like we don't have a, point of sale system. We don't have a retail place. If people are in Houston, they could come by and, potentially meet me or, pick up product, save on some shipping. So I, ran his credit card through our website just as if I was purchasing it. So he made a purchase. A number of months later, I saw him in the lobby and I recognized him. And the lady who kind of runs our office, basically, her name's Cassandra. She was like, "Hey, yeah, this is his third purchase." And at the time we were running some sort of 3 bottles special, and he was buying 3 bottles. And I was like, "This guy will give me an amazing testimonial," right? So I was like, "Hey, man, what have you noticed?" And he very kind of sheepishly and disappointingly was like, "Well, Chris, I haven't really noticed anything." I was like, "That's like in my head, I'm like, that's like you're buying 3 bottles."
Yeah,
like,
what's going on here?
And part of it is like the research that's behind the molecule is longevity, right? A 90% extension of life in mammals. That's Wistar rats, peer-reviewed published research. So conceivably, you could just take it to try and kind of recreate that that study. But then there was this kind of awkward pause, and he goes, "Well, does it work on, and he kind of moved his fingers around and said a particular word that I will not say." I'm like, "Yeah, we've had some people who've had some relief there." And he goes, "Oh, well, that's definitely happened. And also I used to have this click, click, click in my knee, and that is absolutely gone." And I was like, "Wow, okay, that's pretty awesome. That's an amazing testimonial for somebody who hasn't noticed anything." And then he shared that day he was actually going for a jog again. He hadn't been jogging in some number of years, and this was going to be his 3rd jog. And I was like, "Well, okay, it's a shame you haven't noticed anything." And then finally he said, "Chris, I have to share this with you. I have less stress at work." Now, let me be clear. I have the same people at work. I have the same job. I have the same stress at work. I just feel less stress at work. And so that's the testimonial that came from, I didn't notice anything.
I love this. It reminds me of this, and then remind me about the click, click. Something just went off in my head. I got to share this too. Reminds me of this old story by, Dr. Wayne Dyer. He was a self-help author and spiritual author and whatnot. And he said he wrote this book, and it was about, life and death and kind of that whole transition time. And after one of his speeches, this lady comes up to him kind of angry. She said, "I bought your book. It didn't really do anything for me. All it did was I don't fear death anymore." And he said, "Well," so it didn't do anything for you, but you're not scared of death anymore. Well, that's kind of like, how we sometimes not notice things. When you shared this great testimonial, I just realized last year, my daughters started making fun of me. They're in their early 20s, and I would kneel and it would click, click in my knees, right? And you could hear it like in the other room. It's like, "Damn, Dad, you're getting up there.
Quick, Dad's getting up. We like, stop doing whatever we're doing."
An old elbow injury, the exact same thing. My elbow clicks when I do, it isn't clicking. I just realized, I was in the gym, I was doing squats and everything. My knee's not clicking. So thank you for making me aware of an effect I didn't even realize.
Wow.
you know, we're only working with the best in their field, because that's what my wife and I've been looking for, you know, for our own family, and of course for our wonderful audience. You guys are the best in the field. You know, that's just, and that's who you want to work with. That's who you want to be with. And I think this is a good moment to maybe bless some people with the gift of C60 Evo. What do you think?
We will send them a beautiful bottle of C60 Evo olive oil.
So I'm gonna do this blind, no bias here. I love all of our audience. So the first winner,
and it's your daughter. No.
the first winner is, I mean, coincidentally, it's also a member of our inspired community on Locals. That's Jay Frodge, aka Jim, who's been with us for a long time. That's Jim J. Frodge,
Awesome.
my friend. Congratulations, great veteran, wonderful human being. Thank you for your service, by the way, Jim.
Yay.
So please send an email to Miss Patty. You're going to send it to hello, the word hello, at c60evo.com, and just put attention, Miss Patty, in the subject line, and let her know that you're one of the winners, and then add your address, please, so you can get that out to you. That's fantastic.
It has to be the same secret address as Jean has.
Yes. So number 2. Okay. Let's see. I think we're wasn't it all ladies and now it's all men? It's Mark Baxter 3506. Mark Baxter, can you see it?
Okay.
Fantastic. Mark, same procedure. Congratulations. You're gonna get a bottle. That's so wonderful. I love doing this. Last one.
Christmas is not over.
Christmas is not over. Another original tribester. She's been with us for a very long time. Fearlessly Phoenixing 6498.
Oh, I've enjoyed some of her testimonials, for the comments.
Yes, she's been with us for a very long time. So this is, we have a wonderful audience. Some of them have been with us for years. Congratulations, guys. Please send an email to hello@c60evo.com. Let Miss Patty know.
Yeah, with your address.
Fantastic. And there's also something incredible going on for the next hours. Really, we're talking about the next hours when this is over. What's happening at C60 Evo? It has never happened before. It might never happen again.
We have an overdose of capsules.
Not overdose. Overabundance.
We have an overabundance, I stand corrected, of capsules that appear to be dated shortly. And so we are selling them 2 for 1. I'm sure there's going to be safe. I'm going to keep taking them. But we are doing buy one, get one free. And if you go to the link of John Nolan's right here below, you'll see this little banner that says buy one, get one. And you tap it and you'll get 2 for the price of 1. And we will ship it to you as normal. And definitely use John's code at checkout. And who knows, you might get another 10% off. But we want to be sure that we know that it came through this show. And my goodness, your audience is our best customers. They are so grateful because they are conscious of their bodies, perhaps different than the gentleman that came in that went, yeah, I don't really feel anything. My son-in-law is a pretty well-known guitar player. He's over the top great, and he hurts. His fingers were getting really stiff. I gave him some Evo, and he goes, oh, my God, the energy. I'm so much more energized. And I said, what else? And he goes, yeah, that's about it. And we were talking. He goes, oh, my God. So it was like, there's a lot of those, like, it doesn't hurt anymore. And this is a pro guitar player that needs all 10.
That is so important. That is so important. And, I got to tell you something. I usually don't talk about these things on the air, but when you do what we do, you get emails every day by people that want you to sell their product. That's literally what they want. And we get those emails, and they usually start with, we're willing to pay you X amount to promote our product. And could you start next week? I go, hold on, guys. You're going about this completely the wrong way. I don't want to hear anything about money. What are you doing? What's your vision? What's your mission? I need to try this. I need to look at the ingredients. And if I think it's good, then my family will try it. And if they think it's really great and everybody benefits and we know it's high quality, then we might be able to talk about, and this is why we're so excited, to have found and connected with some of the best people in the world today, which is what I think it's excellence, right? We need to move forward with excellence in information, excellence in our actions, excellence, being honest, being authentic, having integrity. And so I just want to say thank you, because it's helping many people. Because people are happy and people are experiencing things they haven't experienced in a long time, namely better health and well-being. And for that, I'm just grateful as a human being to both of you and your entire team for doing what you do every day and making it better, because I know that's what you're doing. Just continually getting better and better and better. Thank you both, from the bottom of my heart.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Well, we have fun because the guys at the lab they call themselves nerds. They're science nerds. And people used to make fun of, look at Chris in his little costume. It's like, no, that's actually a lab coat. He's actually at the lab. And, the goggles have a purpose aside from being rather cool goggles. and he can see well through them. But I had an interesting conversation today where I reached out to somebody that I wanted to promote. And it looked like she was this cool girl camper, and she's fixing her camper up and making it all custom with wood and fabrics. And I thought, wow, cool. So I wrote her and she said, yeah, but sometimes I get really exhausted and, I get cold in the camper. And I was like, oh, Evo would be great for her. Mm-hmm. So I sent her this great letter saying, and she has a lot of watchers on her channel because a beautiful blonde on the road in a camper, who doesn't want to know about it? Maybe. And now that I'm a mature brunette in my camper, had to dig for some proper words. I thought I could really relate to her, and wouldn't it be cool? So now I reached out to all these different camper people because I'm thinking, like, who wouldn't benefit? But it was funny because when I heard back, she said, oh, well, I've got this huge program and it's just and turns out she's just a model. And it was kind of like, oh, are you serious? So, but I wrote a polite letter and I said, oh, I actually thought you were, a camping person and passionate about it, but I understand. And hey, Happy New Year. Enjoy yourself. And so she wrote back, that was really respectful. And perhaps I should think about it. So I was like, it's so interesting. But what I said was, we don't hire actors. We don't work with people that don't know the products. Like, we offer to send people gifts of C60 Evo when they've got an audience that would really benefit. And so Chris always says, don't send them one, send them the whole thing, because how could anybody not love feeling better, looking better, smoother skin, hair is like what? So we also have pet products. And I mean, if you're not passionate about yourself and your health, when you've got an old lethargic dog or cat and you give them the product that tastes like bacon for the dogs, like salmon for the cats, and you see your pet running around when it's been like lethargic, really touching. So the products actually have a really potent effect. That's what I love about it, is everybody I give it to notices. And when I give little samples, which we love to do, people become regulars. And regulars get 20% off every month. It's called subscription. And so we encourage people, if they want to try the product, sign up for a subscription because you'll save 20%. And if you don't love it, cancel. No problem. Easy. But it's really nice to have a discount. And we like to be flexible with people, like the buy one, get one. And your code, link below, will get everybody 10% off no matter what discounts they get. But I do want to mention that we have dozen quantities. You get 25% off. And use your code. There's another 10% off at checkout. For people that want to get serious, we have huge bottles. I love this. Um, yeah, I'm noticing the date on it. Like this has been my prop bottle, but now I've got to start hitting on it. Like, oh my goodness, I got to be taking it. But I think from the date we have a lot longer. We're just being conservative because we want to be respectful, have it be really fresh. But it was interesting to see us go for different flavors because I'm attracted to the MCT coconut. I start my morning with 6 ingredients in my coffee, and it's the most important one because I go all day long. And I do twice as much because it's half as strong as the olive. But I know somebody that actually puts olive oil in their coffee. Ouch, not sure I'd like that. I love this. And then we also have,
it's like a more neutral, for a coffee, especially more neutral flavor for sure.
then we have avocado. I do want to mention, which is fabulous on a spoon or avocado toast, but it's the easiest remedy I've ever found. You take it on a spoon, preferably before noon, and you've got energy and mental focus all day long. Sleep better at night. It's like the easiest thing I've ever discovered. And meanwhile, I took down all my shoe boxes full of supplements, and I'm kind of like checking to see if there's any I should do. But I do Evo every day, and I haven't done them since I got my hips replaced, and I'm cooking.
There you go. And I also wanted to give an update, friends, on our golden retriever. You know, he's getting up there, close to 15 years old. About 6 months ago, I want to say he kind of, you know, was hesitant walking up the stairs, maybe half of the flight, and then just lay there. Then he quit altogether, and lately he started walking, you know, the stairs up and down again, all the way up. And especially, which is interesting, in the morning when he gets up, and usually it would take him a while to warm up, and, you know, or arthritis and whatnot, and it would take him a while to muster up the strength to walk down the stairs. Yesterday, you know, he jumps up from sleeping, and he walks down the stairs beside me, you know, like a young, not like a young pup, but like, you know, much younger than he is. I'm like, this, you know, these are just some of the little moments where I go, thank you. I know the Evo's kicking in, and I know the Evo's helping a great deal, and he's just more comfortable, you know, long walks. So, you know, he's the best case study for me. There's no, like Chris always says, there's no placebo effect in animals, right?
Yeah, no, they're, you know, ironically, they're not smart enough to know that they got the dropper. And because they got the dropper, it should be easier to go down the stairs. No, they either feel like they can go down the stairs or not. And the other thing that really kind of applies to longevity, right, in the case that you're talking about, he's getting more exercise. Like there's no doubt movement and exercise is good for longevity. It's good for your overall health and therefore longevity. So it has these add-on effects, and we see that regularly. So it's awesome to hear that.
Yeah. So thank you for that too. And I want to say to our audience, on the buy one, get one, you got to move really quick. We're literally talking 48, 72 hours tops. You know, this is being phased out. And of course, if you know, as long as supply lasts,
yeah.
when it's over, it's over. So just, you know, pull the trigger on this. You get 2 bottles for the price of 1. This is substantial. This is a big deal. Click on the link in the description. Go to c60evo.com/inspired channel. Make sure you see the coupon codes. Make sure you use all of this. They're giving it, you know, with a lot of love, and just shop around and see what you can find. There's facial serums. Chris and I are, you know, ironically, it's the 2 dudes who are always fully out every morning, every night. There's the whole body cream. Yeah, there you go. You know, there's just a plethora of beautiful products for the whole family. There you go. So I encourage you to do it. And let us know. Let us know in the comments how things are going for you. Give us your experiences. We love to hear from you.
I've got a question.
Yes, ma'am.
Do you think we should do another giveaway next month of 3 complimentary bottles?
You're asking me whether I would like to raffle off 3 more bottles to our audience. Well, I would love to do that. If you're generous enough, we would love to do that.
I think it's part of our show now of gifting your audience back, because they leave beautiful testimonials. Because again, I think the people that don't notice the benefits are people that aren't in their bodies enough to feel like they're so out there in the world. And needless
And
to
we don't know what their stress levels are, right? Sometimes we don't know what people are going through. It just might be an overload, you know? And so maybe it takes a little while. Maybe it takes a month longer to realize. But yeah, I agree with you totally.
Well, we're about to be really overloaded with executive orders and transformation. But when I talk about the evolution of consciousness, it's also the evolution for us of the Evo molecule. And that's why we named the company C60 Evo. Chris and Robert have been doing it longer than anybody. They started in 1991, and they were doing industrial
When
grade.
Chris was 10.
Yeah, it would seem. They were in college. No, he looks damn good for 75, I think.
55.
Chris is like, come on. It's gonna be a whole new conspiracy theory here, you know? It's like,
we can have a whole competition. How old is Chris?
yeah.
Well, you should probably, how old is Patty's mom? My mom's 95 and she's still reading thick novels because she gets Evo. So people that love their parents, get your parents some Evo if you want them to last. Now, if you don't want them to last, get the Evo out of their bathroom and leave quickly. But I don't think people would do that. So yeah, the Evo really does help with longevity. My mom is the prime example, and her dog, oh God, I'm like, don't forget to give the dog, because when he leaves, it's not going to be good for her at 95. So she's going to be 96 in May. Wow.
Go Mom. We love it.
Go Mom. But, you know, again, I think all my friends have really old dogs and cats now that have been on these products, because it is about longevity, but it's also about quality of life. When you feel good and you look good, you're going to have a better quality of life. I wish I could blame it on a lot of things, but I really only do Evo. So I'm really glad to be partners selling this product that's changing lives around the world and keeping people's pets alive in beautiful ways. It's the evolution of the Evo industry is the ES60 in these products. It's really simple, spoonful in the morning, and you're good all day long. I love it.
I love it too. And guys, the buried lead, you know, 3 more bottles are going to be given away next time we talk here. There's going to be names in this hat. Make sure yours is in it. Leave a comment. Let us know how your experience is with the Evo. If you haven't yet, let us know why you might want to try it. Leave a comment. We're going to pick out all the names that have commented, put them in the hat, and raffle off 3 more bottles. Thank you both, Miss Patty Greer, Mr. Chris Burres. It's such an honor and a pleasure to have talked to you again today. And Inspire Tribe, you know we love you, we appreciate you, and we will be back with you again very, very soon.